Hello and welcome back to another Saturday morning coffee episode. First off, I'm deeply sorry. I apologize for missing last week. I went traveling and for an extended weekend to go visit my grandparents, and I thought that they might have internet. I was wrong. They did not have internet. So, well, okay. At the second location in which I was meeting with them for the most of the weekend, they did have some internet during certain hours where great-grandpa would turn on the internet. But his concern is that internet uses up too much electricity, so he doesn't like to keep the internet on. So I was not about to upload podcast episodes and get that all taken out, and so that didn't happen. I broke my streak. I haven't gone a full 7 days without releasing an episode in a couple months, so I was bummed to break that record, but there was just nothing I could have done about it. And I really don't like the idea of like recording early Saturday morning coffee, because it's just, then it's not authentic, it's something else. That's why this episode earlier this week was called This Was Friday Night, instead of just playing it off as Saturday morning coffee, because that's not what it is. And it just felt wrong to say that. And so, like, I'm even thinking ahead to my wedding. My wedding's going to be on a Saturday next year, and I'm like, how early do I need to get up to be able to still record a Saturday morning coffee episode and then not impede any wedding day activities? So that's just how committed I am to getting this out on Saturday morning. I'm sure my mother listens to this every episode, and I'm sure she is shaking her head back and forth and telling me to breathe. But you know what? This is now, podcasting is my favorite hobby, and I love schedules, and I really don't like messing those schedules up. Okay. Anyways, like I said, I was doing another road trip, and my problem with driving is that I get like all of my best or favorite ideas while driving on long distance trips. And when I pull over at rest stops or whatever, I just immediately then have to like dump my thoughts for a page or two of just like everything I thought of, responses to like podcasts that I listen to, content ideas, all of it. I just have to dump it all as soon as we pull over. And excuse me, that would be a great time to take a drink. And by the way, today we're drinking Maxwell House hazelnut iced latte, like a stir-in mix. But we don't have any dairy-free milk, so I just turned it into an iced coffee. First impressions? Not bad. Oh, I wonder if the mic's picking up, but my dog, Sissy, she is rolling around on her back. Seems to be having a good morning over there. Okay. Back to the focus at hand. This is why I have notes, because otherwise I would never get back onto the topic. And it's a real problem that all of my best ideas come while driving, because I can't hold a thought very well at all. If I don't get it out immediately, it's gone forever. Because my brain will immediately have moved on to the 10 next thoughts. And so I don't get everything out while driving, unfortunately. And Faith gets violently car sick, so she can't, dictate notes for me. And, even just doing audio recordings on my phone, that's a bad idea, because that, it's just too much distraction. And so it's unfortunate how many great ideas that I just totally lose on these road trips, because I can't pull over every 10 minutes to write down a bunch of things. So anyways, while visiting my grandparents, now they have a house that's kind of like closer to the coast, but they're currently like taking care of my grandparents, or my great grandpa, who's living up in a mountain in California. So they've got these two locations, and the location about to talk about is the one close on the coast that they've lived their entire lives. Like my grandma was raised there and then now has lived there her whole life. But with full love, I say this: they are intensive hoarders. My grandpa hoarded on the outside with vehicles and scrap metal and just various pieces of tools and machinery. And my grandmother mainly hoarded inside with every paper you could think of, with every kind of paper you could think of, with so like books and cookbooks and history of bills and whatnot, and then just miscellaneous knickknacks and just boxes of random stuff. It's looked the same my entire life, with varying levels of removal and then adding new stuff. But and then the other thing my grandma has always hoarded was she has rock gardens all over the place, all over their yard. There are these big rock gardens of stuff she has collected, and I'm talking like they have broken numerous vehicles with the heavy load of rocks that Grandpa has had to haul up for Grandma. So they are looking to sell the house and acre soon and move to be with all of us in Idaho, just because they're getting pretty older. And when great grandpa passes, there's not much of a reason to be still staying in California, and they want to be next to us, and my mom lives here too. So what I'm saying all this for is that it has been honestly a dream of mine since I was a young teenager to spend a summer or even just a month at their place and organizing and selling off stuff and project managing the shit out of their house. This is not like Grandson coming in to take all of grandparents' money and sell shit. No, all the money would go back to them, obviously. I just mean that it would be my dream to take a hoarder's property and get rid of all of it for them if, they were ready for it, which my grandparents are ready to get rid of all of their hoarding stuff and sell their house. It's just too much work for them at their age in the 70s. So this is totally, I think fine to be saying this, and it would be fine to do it. But I would love to spend that whole month just ripping through their property and getting rid of all of this accumulated, hoarded stuff they have over the years that they don't want. Like there's a Joe Camel cigarette coffee cup holder. That's cool. I'm sure I could get a few bucks for that on Amazon. That they clearly do not need, because I don't know if they've ever. I've never heard of them smoking cigarettes. I'm sure they did, but anyways, there's just all this hidden treasure that's been hoarded over the decades that would be so much fun to like dig through and find out, like just like find these hidden treasures. It would be so much work though, because I cannot understate just how insane this property is. There's so much stuff there that somebody would have to actually go through. And I mean, their idea is just to throw it all in a dump truck and take it all to the dump. Because it would be an insane amount of work to actually get it all organized and stuff. So, anyways, it'd be my idea of a hell of a lot of fun, and I would love to do that. I don't think I'm going to get that opportunity, but I'm putting it out in the universe. All right. I might have a new favorite rest stop. Potentially taking the number one spot on my favorite rest stop list is the Randolph Collier Visitor Information Rest Stop outside of Wairika, California. I need you to Google this place. It is fantastic, but unfortunately, the pictures online do not do it justice. It had the visitor center had tons of stuff to learn. Oh, I'm sure the mic definitely picked up Sissy that time. Stuff to learn, tables, a river view. It's huge. It had like two sides to it. And it was only slightly. My only complaint is it just needed one extra sign to get you there, because you had to go off the highway, go underneath the overpass, and then turn into it. But there was just like one spot where it was like not entirely clear, and I missed it, and I had to turn back around and come back to that rest stop area. So that's my only complaint. Other than that, this place was a hell of a good rest stop. You getting that itch, Sissy? Okay. Like, it was so nice that I sat there and was like, I kind of want to start an Instagram just for all the rest stops I find. And then I could provide my own lengthy review on each of these rest stops. And then, obviously share all these pictures and stuff, because it would be really funny to do these. It would be fun to do all these really nice ones that I have on my favorites list. But it would also be funny to do like some of the really bad ones. And I think I could come up with some funny reviews. For instance, I found one on the way back that was like, well, due to a high volume of theft and vandalism, there might not be toilet paper here. And I was like, well, I feel like that's kind of given that you don't know for sure there's always going to be toilet paper. But for them to have put up a sign, it must be a very frequent issue for them. And it was a rough rest stop. So now I really need to get my favorite. I actually really need to sit down and get my list together of favorite rest stops. And get that on my website, because I've talked a few times about this list on here, and I just need to actually sit down, put it together, and get it on my website so I can refer to it. I don't know what this thing is about me loving rest stops is. Okay, moving on. So another part of traveling that I love is listening to the many podcasts that I get to, because I can just, it takes a lot for me to like say, okay, I'd rather listen to music, because generally I'm always going to pick podcasts. And so here's the most interesting ones that I think you should check out. Planetary Radio, which is produced by the Planetary Society, which is a group of science-interested people who lobby for like increased funding to NASA, and they push for more research around, like, especially like astronomy and physics, and that kind of thing that all has to do with exploring and seeing what's in space. Great podcast. But they had 2 episodes that I thought were really interesting. The first is that their guest was claiming that they would be able to discover the 9th planet by August 1st, 2026. And apparently I did not know this, but the search for the 9th planet has been ongoing for, I forgot to write it down, but I think maybe like 10 years or something like that. They first discovered that, hey, there's some effects going on out in the beyond Pluto that kind of reveal that that asteroids and stuff are being acted upon by like a 9th planet. And so and they explain why they think it's an actual planet and not like, just something like a dwarf planet like Pluto. But and it wasn't some crackpot on here. Like, this is a pretty legitimate science podcast, and so they were talking about how they identify that it could be the ninth planet and how they're gonna be able to give proof to it, and why they could do it by August 1st, 2026 is that there's a new telescope coming online. Oh gosh, somewhere in South America, and that telescope is the one that would be able to actually pick up and see the supposed ninth planet. So, interesting stuff. Had no idea there was such a concerted effort to find a ninth planet in our universe, or our solar system. But it was really interesting to hear them talk about it. The other one that they talked about was the process for Mars samples after their return, and talking about like the facility and the training needed for it and all the steps that go into actually being able to take these Mars samples is just insane. Like, I couldn't give it proper summary. So if it is something you're interested in, I highly recommend you checking out. Of course, all the podcasts I talk about are always linked in the notes. But, oh, hi, Sissy. She wants some love. Highly insane. Recommend checking it out. Just an incredible number of steps and processes they have to go through, just for fear of contamination, and protecting like Earth's environment. And then, so these episodes made me wonder if a planet could be abandoned, say like two solar systems were like passing by each other, and like the most exterior planet maybe just slightly enough got acted upon by the other solar system's gravity pull, and then but not enough to actually get pulled into it, just got pulled into the middle, and then it would be abandoned. And I was like, okay, is something like an abandoned planet in between solar systems like possible? And then I started doing just the tiniest bit of research into it, and immediately found out why that's not possible. So, I was excited to do the space episode. I was going to talk to astronomers, whether there could be a planet abandoned. But then I found out, no, there can't be. The IAU, which is kind of the body that decides, the definition of a planet, resolved, and I'm going to be quoting this now, that planets and other bodies except satellites in our solar system be defined into three distinct categories in the following way. And I'm going to read about the planet, or read the planet part, but a planet is a celestial body that A, is in orbit around the sun. So immediately, first requirement, my abandoned planet, my orphan planet idea doesn't exist. B, has sufficient mass for its self-gravity to overcome rigid body forces so that it assumes a hydrostatic equilibrium, nearly round shape, and C, has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. So my idea went out the window. I thought I was going to have a fun little astronomy episode where I went and talked to a couple of scientists at U of I locally, and then like talk to some others at other universities and try to put a whole thing together. So that episode came and went just as quick. I'm pretty disappointed about it. I'm going to be honest. I was really excited about this one. Anyways, another great podcast that I always recommend to people is Stuff to Blow Your Mind. And they had a series on, a multi-part series on the Alien franchise. And so they typically have this 5-6 minute episode, 5-6 minute length episode that comes out once a week called the Monster Fact, or Monsterpedia or something. And they just explore a different like monster once a week for like 5 or 6 minutes. Just really interesting things about it. And they decided they wanted to do a multi-part series leading up to the release of the new Alien movie. And so last I checked, it was a 7-part series, and each episode featured a different creature from the alien universe, and it was really interesting. It gave me lots of ideas for just like it gave me a lot of inspiration for certain creatures that I'm like working on in my fantasy world that I'm building for the different short stories I've written in already. Please see my personal website, msbivens.com/Alorum to learn more. And so I just wanted to share that out because in case you like Alien 2, like me, check the series out. It was really interesting because they go beyond the movies. They also talk about the role-playing game and the information given there, as well as some other books on the topic. So there was just they referenced a lot of source material to make these really good episodes, as they always do. It's one of the most professional podcasts. It's probably the second most or the most professional podcast I listen to. They have a whole team behind them. But before I leave that, I just wanted to say Alien has always been a weird series that I have both been a fan of and not cared about at the same time. And I'm not really sure how to define that. Like, I'm always like, oh, if someone was like, let's watch Alien, I'd be like, yeah, let's watch it. But I don't know if I would ever I don't know if I've ever on my own volition said, I'm going to go watch Alien versus Predator. Like, I don't know if I've ever done that, but I like the series, and I've definitely thought about like watching the full series just to like get the full experience of it. And maybe I will with this new Alien movie coming out. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird spot to be in between. So I don't know what that's about. My last recommendation is I checked out this Stoicism podcast, and it looks like all of their podcast ideas are just like, or all of their episodes are like applying the concepts of Stoicism to different parts or different things of life, as just like kind of like a self-help podcast almost style. And so the one I checked out was talking about anger, and I just really liked how it talked about getting angry often hurts you more than the thing that actually made you angry. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And if you actually like think about that and try to apply that in situations where you're like frustrated or angry, if you could try to recall that, it would probably calm you down quite a lot. But then I was watching, I was showing Faith an anime because I'm trying to find other ones that she'd be interested in. And we watched the first episode of Hunter x Hunter. And they also had a quote about anger. And it was like, oh, anger is like a really good thing because it shows you, it tells you who that person really is. Because whatever they get angry about is whatever they care the most about. I was like, oh, interesting. Definitely two very different ideas about anger. One's coming from a philosophical mindset and the other one from pushing the anime plot forward. But both are really good ideas. And I don't know. I don't know which one is like kind of a better idea to kind of like believe in and share. But anyways, all those podcast episodes gonna be linked in the show notes. I've got one more thing for you, and then I'll let you go. Sis is definitely begging for a morning walk. Yeah. All right. So I've picked up a couple more cookbooks from my grandmother, and they're from the 70s. Now, I've been working on trying to focus like what my cooking show would be about. Like maybe once every like 2 weeks or something, I want to drop a cooking video because recording them seems fairly easy. It's the video editing that always hangs me up, and it's something I would like to make regular. Just because I love cooking, and I think cooking videos might have the third longest list of content ideas in my massive collection of those. And so I've been looking at, and it's definitely like top interest right now, and I've been looking at a lot of old cookbooks and just realizing how these white people were afraid of even salt and pepper. I swear to God, they were afraid of it. Because these cookbooks lack any sort of flavoring whatsoever. They're just like, just throw the ingredients together and call it good. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And so when I get there to making these, I was kind of thinking that a fun way to niche down would just be taking these recipes that are, 30, 40 plus years old and trying to make them a little bit more modern. So improving these recipes and, just adding some very basic flavoring to them. I think that would be fun. Just like exploring these old recipes and trying to modernize them a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share that idea because I think the more I talk about these ideas, especially on a mic, the more it helps me define them later on. And this is exactly what I would be talking about if you were here to have a Saturday morning cup of coffee with me. So to all those who continue to listen, thank you so much. This has been my favorite hobby, and it's been so nice to just sit down with a cup of coffee every Saturday morning and just talk about whatever's been on my brain all week. It's just, it's therapeutic in a sense. So thank you all for joining, and I'll catch you next time.